Welcome to the Zen Supermom podcast. The episode today is for you if when you look back at Christmas picture or like end of year pictures from last year, 2 years, 3 years back, the prevalent feeling, how it makes you feel when you look at those photos is sadness, frustration, some guilt or shame. Because even though there were lots of beautiful moments, you also remember all the drama, all the stress, maybe even all the unnecessary yelling and how that made you feel. So if you want this Christmas to be different, we need to have a chat, and let's have it now while there's still time so that you can prepare for the coming Christmas. Not because you have to do more, please, no. This is not going to be about giving you to-do list of new routines, new things to be done. On the contrary. So, ready to have this Christmas, make it different so that when you look back 10, 20 years from now to Christmas 2024, you'll be so proud of yourself for being perfectly imperfect, but doing it differently and finally seeing the results. Happy, safe family, happy moments, and feeling connected. How about that? Is that what you want? Is that what you want to feel this Christmas? Let's go for it. No time to waste. Hi, I'm Elena and I'm a mommy tantrum specialist because I used to be specialist at yelling at my daughter daily. Now, 6 years fast forward, me and my team help busy, loving moms stop yelling, start setting healthy boundaries with natural consequences while staying calm so that the kids listen more. And one day when you look back at their childhood pictures, you will be able to feel at peace and happy with what a wonderful job you did. So that's what we do in this Zen Supermom podcast, helping you find out why none of these parenting techniques, not even anger therapy and counseling, is ever going to help you get there. You need to understand the root. Where is all of your uncontrollable anger coming from? That's what this podcast is about. So welcome to the Zen Supermom podcast. Hi, my name is Elena and I'm a mommy tantrum specialist because I used to yell at my daughter daily. And I noticed that it was happening especially when I felt stressed, when I had lots of things to do, and when there was a lot of pressure, expectations, fear of judgment, and me having high demands, high standard on how I wanted to make things happen. And that was coming up especially around Christmas and New Year's, because I felt like there's so much pressure. I wanted to make everything perfect, picture perfect, and perfect memories, and for everybody to have a fun and enjoy so that when we look back, we are feeling like, wow, those were the most heartwarming moments. But actually what ended up happening, those were the times of most stress and therefore most drama, because then I had a very short fuse. I didn't have enough patience. And then it was the sure way for me to lose it and actually create the opposite of what I was intending to do. So instead of happy, beautiful memories, everybody calm and peaceful, enjoying this connection, I actually created the opposite. Everybody sad, frustrated, disconnected, me crying somewhere when how I felt misunderstood and with all of my greatest intentions and doing so much for everybody, they didn't appreciate it or things didn't go my way, or then I was yelling because they didn't want to help me or they didn't appreciate how much I did. So it made me feel very frustrated. Then looking back at the pictures of last Christmases, that's how I felt. That's why I put this name to this podcast, because I know I'm not the only one. I know there'll be lots of moms listening feeling like, oh my goodness, are you spying on me in my closet? No, I'm not. I don't have to, because you're not alone, my dear. So let's talk about it. Because for me, it was even worse. Because I knew this pattern. It was so familiar, even from my own childhood. I grew up being a daughter of a burned out supermom. And I love my mom. I have nothing but gratitude and appreciation for her. She was absolutely amazing. I don't understand how she did it all in the way she did. The only thing I was keeping my fingers crossed and praying and learning and doing everything I could so that when I grow up, I'm going to do it differently. Because I remember from my childhood, actually, Christmas celebrations, those few days around Christmas and the weeks leading up to Christmas were the most stressful in our home. I felt the least safe because my mom had so many things to do, from baking Christmas cookies to, and I think I spoke about this, the Christmas cookies last year in some of others than Supermom podcast episodes. She had so many things to do, like cleaning our place and decorating. And then, of course, she had to buy all the gifts for everybody, I guess, including for herself. Just there were so many family visits being organized in our place. And so she was putting so much pressure on herself to not only create beautiful memories for us as a family, but then also to be the perfect hostess and the perfect, like, to set up our home in a beautiful way to make our guests feel welcomed and happy and everything amazing. So I don't blame her for anything. I don't blame her for getting angry and upset, but this is exactly what my strongest memories are of Christmases being a kid, was that I didn't feel safe. I felt like she could explode at any moment. So we were all walking on eggshells. We were all trying to help her as much as we could. But of course, it was not good enough because we were not doing it the perfect way and it was not fast enough. So she was running out of time, running out of patience. So then there was no wiggle room for our emotions, me and my brother, us needing anything or us being slow or us needing her attention, because she simply didn't have enough of it. And so that's why it was even more frustrating for me when I became a mom, because that's the opposite of how I wanted my daughter to feel. But I could see I was starting to run in exactly the same direction when she was 4 months old for her first Christmas. So I was like, yeah, she's not going to remember any of it anyway. So that was still okay. But then when she was 1 year, 4 months old, it was already different, yeah. And then knowing that you need to send some pictures and videos to your family, so they would judge you and they would ask me, and did you bake cookies as well? You're living abroad, but are you keeping some traditions? So that she's Czech as well and she knows our culture. So a lot of pressure how to balance, and my husband is a different culture and we are living in France, a different culture, right? So trying to find where's the freaking balance and not having any support here, so then feeling like a victim that, okay, like my mom, at least she could put us to a grandma, or she could leave us there, or we could be doing that so that she has time to focus. I don't have any support here. I had to do it all by myself. So the victim in me also jumping in. Then the judge in my head, judging me, shaming me, blaming me for falling into the same trap as my mom did. So let's stop the victim pity party here. If you're feeling a very similar way, let me send you a hug. And let's talk about it. Let's start getting out of that trap, shall we? So, first point where you need to realize is why. Why do you keep falling in the freaking same trap even though you know it's coming? Why? Let's be honest. For me, if I do my introspection now backwards, those 6 years back, what I remember was the push for me was because indeed was the fear of judgment. I need to make it perfect because I will have to send those pictures, and I know my husband is going to make videos for his family over in Brazil, so everybody will be watching and asking and criticizing. And because I wanted things to be perfect and better, this is the push, yeah? I wanted it better, I wanted it good enough, and I wanted everything happy and perfect. And so that when my daughter thinks back on her Christmas celebrations, she has beautiful memories, or she can see it in those pictures. So I wanted to do it. There was this push, to be better, to do things better. And when I look back, that was really going back to the feeling of not feeling good enough. Yeah, I was afraid that if I do it too lazy or too relaxed, if I don't do enough, people will judge me as lazy and not good enough mother. Yeah. How come you didn't do full decoration? How come you didn't bake those Christmas cookies? How come you didn't do all those Christmas activities? Like, you're too lazy and poor your daughter. Yeah. I was afraid of this judgment. So that's where you need to go first to realize what prevents you from actually, instead of putting things on your to-do list, taking them out. Because this is then my second question for you. To-do lists and family traditions and expectations and fear of judgment aside, what would become possible once your mind would be clean, clear, and at peace, free of all of this blah blah noise? What would you realize is the most important point for you for Christmas? What is the most important feeling, emotion you want to have when you look back at those Christmas pictures a few years from now? How do you want to feel? Yes? Because when you take that judgment aside, if you stop looking at those photos, judging yourself about how much you did or did not do, how perfectly or not perfectly it was done, what is the key emotion you want to have? What is the key emotion you want your kids to remember when they are adults about the Christmas? Does it really matter to them how many Christmas cookies or decorations or whatever? Like my daughter already started decorating her room with my husband. And I'm recording this still in November, this podcast episode, okay? I don't know exactly when it's going to be aired, but it's now around mid-November. For my daughter, it's important to decorate her room. So they already started decorating with my husband, because when we went shopping last weekend, we saw already the store full of Christmas decorations and she loved it. And so she chose a package for her with some Christmas balls and all those shining chains, and she already wanted to prepare her room. So she's doing that. But she's doing that because that's what she wants. And so she is doing it in the way she wants. And my husband is just giving the helping hand. And yes, I outsourced, I delegated. I was like, it's not going to be perfect, but that's not the point, making it picture perfect for somebody else to see. It's important for me that my daughter is happy. She feels part of the process. She feels like she's contributing. Therefore, she will be proud of it. And when she looks at those photos of her room one day, she will feel like, this is it. That's how I loved it back then. Isn't it funny? Isn't it cute, right? If she would tell me, I don't want any decorations, I don't care about any of that, well, then we wouldn't have bought it. She wouldn't have done it. And I would be also totally at peace because that's my daughter's choice. Yes. Why am I talking about these examples? Because I want you to start realizing what's true for you and your children. Are they old enough to remember? Are they old enough to have any say in it? Do they already have personal preferences? And then how could you create space for them to fulfill on these preferences, to make it feel like it's their own? Giving them the power to decide and execute. If they need help, can it be somebody else who's helping them? Older sibling, partner, parent, for your friend, like family friend or some other relative? Can you delegate? Because once you realize it's not your responsibility to do everything for everybody and you start empowering and creating, just opening space. My husband, in the end, he was so happy. I let him do it because initially, a few years back, he would have known I would have jumped in to make it perfect and to control the outcome, the situation, the timeline of it. He remembers how I used to be. But he's enjoying it, and I can see it. He's enjoying it so much more now, not only because our daughter is bigger. She's, at 7 years old, she's a different person. She's not a baby anymore, so they're enjoying their connection more and more. But it's also because I'm leaving more and more space for him. And he appreciates having the time with her. Okay? And I'm not saying that to trigger the moms, because I know there will be lots of moms listening. You don't have a partner, like you're not living with the father of your children. Please let that victim feeling, that pain, stop you from looking for opportunities on how you could still delegate, outsource some of these tasks on your to-do list to somebody else, right? Who else is there who could help you? Okay? I get it, it's tough, and I don't need to minimize pain of everybody. I know not everyone's story is exactly the same as mine. That's okay. Why I'm sharing my story with you is not because I want to show you, look how amazing I am, how great family I have, but I want you to start thinking and seeing the example of where I messed up, how I got out of it, because even though your way how might be different, but the principles are the same. The principles I want you to understand is you're not required to do it all. This is your childhood trauma, fear of judgment, the pressure, the perfectionist drive, the hyperachiever drive, the controller. That's all your childhood trauma. You're not required to do it all. On the contrary, the more you get off of your list and the more you focus on that big picture vision, not just now, here, in the moment. I want to do it how I was always doing it. So let me go, just like let my brain, because that's how my brain works. And I'm already too overwhelmed. Don't let me, let me just do it the way how I've always done. Tack, 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 tack. Then it's going to have the effects it has always had, right? So I would want to welcome you to create space, even if it's now, right now, as you're listening to this podcast. Take a moment, take a deep breath. And as if you could take a helicopter up to get out of this daily busy, I don't have any time to even think. Take the helicopter up to see more than just today, next week, next 2 weeks. But have a helicopter view, your entire life, how it's been so far, as if you could see it on a timeline. This is what's already gone. Now you're hanging above the moment that's now. And then there's all this line waiting ahead of you, in front of you, in the future. Okay? Look at this timeline. You have a choice. I cannot take you back. I don't have a magic wand. I cannot take you in that helicopter back in your past. I can't. What I can help is to help you get focused. Start shifting your attention to the future and start seeing how you actually create it right now. Your decisions that you're going to make right now, should you choose to make them, can have an impact for the coming weeks leading up to Christmas. Your decisions and realizations about what is the most important thing you want to feel, what is the most important emotions you want your kids to feel about this Christmas. That focus, if you start acting with that focus in mind right now, I can guarantee you your Christmas this year is going to be different. Okay? So that's the kind of like a transformation. That's the gist of it I want you to understand, okay? Feel free to use my example if it inspires you. If it doesn't work for you because your situation is completely different and you get triggered by me talking about my husband, then disregard it, okay? I want you to focus on what is the most important emotion I want myself and the kids to feel. And then you take it back to your to-do list and shopping list and everything that needs to happen. Get curious. How is that going to change your actions and what you're going to focus on? Okay. What it is going to require is that you stop pointing fingers outside. Yes? One thing that is completely outside of your control is how your family is going to react. You have no control over your kids' feelings. They might still have tantrums because they will not get favorite present under the Christmas tree. Like, who knows? They might have a tantrum about anything else, okay? They will not like the food, or they will just have a fight with their friend or boyfriend or whomever the day before. So they will be sad. They will not be in the right mood. Who knows? And also, who cares in terms of like, why would you take it personally? Why would you get disappointed about it ruining your Christmas? Like your kids' tantrums or whomever other family member making whatever comments. Why would that change anything, right? Once you realize that the only thing that's in control is your response, and that most often other people's emotions are just a reflection of their own pain. Very often we take them in and we make it personal. We feel personally attacked, personally blamed or responsible because there has been some previous dynamic that you actually took it on you. You allowed it to come in. Once you realize that you doing your best, perfectly imperfect, is all there is. That's what's in your control. You managing your emotions, you not creating unnecessary drama on top of anybody else's drama going on. That's all you can manage. Nobody can ask you for any more than that. And if you could actually start effectively managing that would actually change so much for everybody else, right? So this is where I want your focus to be. Rather than, again, giving into the victim, like, yeah, but it's not me creating the drama. It's the kids, or it's the partner. It's my parents, because they are blaming us for not coming over and visiting them for Christmas. Or it's my husband who wants to come and visit his family, and I don't want because it's always the drama, right? Whatever the situation is, my key question for you, an invitation to shift your focus, shift your attention is, how am I managing myself? To make sure I don't contribute to any of their dramas. Okay? That's all you can do. Yeah. And that's actually a lot. You can do. It will make you feel much more in control. All right? And how you do that is by realizing that any of these judging voices, any of these voices that are scared, afraid of judgment, afraid of not being perfect, not being good enough, not being in control, all of that is part of your past that needs to get cleaned up. Those are ghosts that are still haunting you from decades ago. It is not necessary. You don't have to keep dragging them with you for the rest of your life. It's something that you can actually very easily heal and let go of, so that you finally can give your kids the best present they could ever wish for. Happy, centered mom who's not getting off balance whenever somebody makes her feel not good enough, yeah, or whenever things go wrong or the way she did not wish or she didn't expect. They get unconditional love, because you will realize that more important than any Christmas decorations, meals, or even gifts is your kids feeling accepted by you, feeling seen and heard by you, no matter what their current behavior is, how much they are misbehaving or not fulfilling your expectations. They need to understand that, okay, this behavior, not okay, there's a boundary. But you, my kid, I love you. I will never stop loving you no matter what. That's the energy. That's what they need their mom to be and give them. Unconditional love and a healthy role model of how to manage yourself and your emotions, even when things are not going according to expectations. Isn't that the best gift you wish you had growing up? How many toys and games do you remember that you got under the Christmas tree when you were little? I remember only a few. I remember I slept with my ice skates when I got them. I wanted to sleep with them on my feet. My mom didn't let me. But this is one of the few gifts I remember I got and I was so excited about. I got my first ice skates. White, shining, beautiful. I don't remember many more gifts. What I would wish now, looking back, I wouldn't care about any of this, honestly. If only I had a mom who would be more at peace in those Christmas holidays, so that we could all sit down and just like hug it out, play cards, play some games, watch some fairy tales on TV. It's just like, I wouldn't care so much about anything else. I didn't need so much as a kid. I understand why she wanted to do everything else, why she wanted to do it all perfect. I understand what she was getting out of it, because most likely she didn't feel good enough. She felt like she had to prove herself in the eyes of her family. But when I look back now, 40 years later, I just have a lot of compassion for my mom. And I choose not to repeat the same mistake and fall into the same trap. So that was my intention for you in this podcast episode. Get out of it, like handpick whatever is useful for you. Feel free to let the rest go, not let that trigger you. And then let me know. What are you going to stop, or continue doing to make sure that this Christmas, perfectly imperfect, but it's going to go in a different way, much closer to what you feel is the priority, how you want this Christmas to feel, how you want it to remember for you and for your kids. Yeah, I hope it was helpful. Let me know what you're getting out of it. Fingers crossed. The Christmas preparations, most often, the more busy you are, the more you're already busy in your mind, starting to prepare and organize and freak out. So let this help you. Calm it all down. Focus on the priorities. And let this be your priority. What is the most important thing? How do I want to feel looking back? How do I want my kids to feel about this Christmas? Let this be your compass that will guide you through the Christmas madness. Wishing you all the best, Supermom. Why can't you stop yelling at your kids? And no, it's not the stress, lack of sleep, kids not listening, fighting, hitting, no support, time pressure, ADHD, hormones. No, moms around the world are doing it regardless. How? Join us for the upcoming Mommy Tantrum training and find out too.